So in the audition, they just asked me to do ching chong. And
Oh my God.
now people are like, hey, I have seen you somewhere. If my mind drifts away, the teacher would be like, are you understanding? Are you able to understand my accent? I found a passport photograph of my ex-boyfriend in my wallet, and then I was so angry I burnt. I have heard Jaideep sing and he has a lovely voice. Tillotama does embroidery, and if you watch Paatal Lok, as the scene is progressing, her embroidery, I wanted to go somewhere and I asked the rickshawala kitna hoga, and he said 12 rupees. I was like, 12 bahut zyada hai, 15 le lo. Okay. Before I knew it, I was assisting Jim Sarb on his first play. In Delhi, yes, people are doing plays, but they were not as serious as the Mumbai actors. I wanted to be an actor, I was too shy to admit it. I just remember we reached the lab and there was one rat we all had to share, and the rat ran away. Hey, pakad lo, pakad, pakad, pakad. The doorbell rang and I went to open the door and Kalki walked in and I was just shocked. I didn't know what to say. So my closest friends were either Garhwali or Bihari or Haryanvi, Jat. Gender bias is everywhere in this country. It's just a lot more subtle back home, I would say. One of my first inspirations was Malika Dua. When she started making her makeup DD videos, I used to find them hilarious. When I'm feeling really low, I always tell myself, you know, my grandmother survived the Second World War. Everyone is like, oh, Hathiram has come. And then he walked past us and I remember just looking at him go like that, like, okay, he is very tall, is what I was thinking. Social media, Instagram brands and all of that, my rent is getting paid. All the audition calls I got after Paatal Lok, again, Northeastern character.
And so you've said no.
Superwomaniya Stutee.
Hi guys, welcome to the Superwomaniya Show, and I'm going to start by saying thank you. We won the Golden Mike's Best Afternoon Show Award, so very excited for that. So Merenla is someone जिसके साथ मैं बहुत time से plan करी थी. We have to do this, we have to do this. We even met on a flight once, and we again made a promise कि ये करना ही पड़ेगा. But life after Paatal Lok has been amazing, and you've been busy, so it's all fine.
Yeah. It's nice because now people are like, hey, I have seen you somewhere, you know, so that's a nice reaction to get. Yes.
So lovely. So tell me, how many people these days call you by your name, Merenla, or they call out Rose?
Yeah, people have called me out as Rose, and I actually really like that. Even on my Instagram, I always get comments saying Rose Lizzo ? Ye Paatal Lok wala Rose Lizzo nahi hai ? You know, and are you in Paatal Lok? So I get a lot of comments like that, and I find them really entertaining.
Amazing. It's a brilliant show, and to be part of such a huge series, I'm sure comes with its own set of lovely things.
Yeah.
But honestly, how has life changed as an actor? Did you think you're going to be flooded with offers, and has that happened, or was it a little bit of an anti-climax saying I'm getting a lot of love for Rose, but things are not panning out the way I want them to?
Well, I kept my expectations very, very low. I was like, don't expect that you're going to get flooded with stuff. But the way I saw it, I wanted this role to that, okay, I can act. Because before that, everyone was like, not everyone, but people would be like, okay, but she does comedy. She probably won't be able to pull it off. So I really needed something out there to prove that I can do dramatic roles. And that was, for me, that was the top priority. Like, I need people to see this and know that I can do dramatic roles. And that was it. And that got accomplished. I've been really happy that has been achieved. Yeah.
So, like Rose, are you also from Kohima?
I am.
How
yes.
cool. So that was very precise
It's
casting.
So precise. I remember when I told my friend, I'm going for this casting. She's a heroin addict. She's from Kohima. And my friend said, well, physically you already look the part. And from Kohima. So if you don't get this role, you just pack up your bags and leave Bombay because, you know, like, it'll be embarrassing if you don't get the role, is what she said.
You know, we of course know how you got the part, and like your friend rightly said, if you don't get this, then you know, you please pack your bags.
Yeah.
But how was it on set? You've described Hathiram as,
warm.
big beer, you know, you've
Such
called
a
him a
warm-
gentle giant,
Yeah, he's
you
a
know, all
gentle
these
giant.
nice things have been said about him. How was it to act with these really solid performers? You've had scenes with Tillotama, you've had
Yes.
scenes with Jaideep.
Yeah, I mean, but I was unconscious.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You were also quite restful while.
But it was just, I remember one thing that Tillotama said. She had to talk about my injuries to Hathiram. And by the time we had hung out for an entire day together and we'd become like buddies. So up till then everything was fine, but then when she had to say my injuries about like my lungs being punctured and everything like that, she felt so sad because she's like, but now I know you as a person. It's making me sad. But I have to say it with a stoic face because I'm a policewoman. This is just my duty. But it's making me sad is what she said. You know? And it was just...
She's lovely.
They are wonderful human beings. And the people, you know, it was... No one had a single complaint against anyone. Everyone who was working behind the scenes and everyone who was working as an actor, everyone had so much fun. And it's one thing to work on a show where you are a fan of the show and everyone was a fan of the show. So that I think made a lot of difference.
Did you ever think you'll get intimidated? I mean, you know, these are seasoned actors, and how is it going to be?
I was so scared. I remember like the first reading that we had. I remember we were waiting for Jaideep to come, and then he has a huge personality and he's such a towering figure. I remember we were like, and everyone is like, oh, Hathiram has come, okay? And then he walked past us, and I remember just looking at him go like that, like, okay, he is very tall, is what I was thinking. Like, he's a very tall man, you know. And the guy who played Ruben, LC, was just like, oh my goodness, look at his height, man. Wow. He was just in love. Like, look at his height, man. Oh wow, look at the way his body is built, man. Like, he was just, you know, like, there are hearts in his eyes, you know. But it's just the way they were such nice human beings. It became like a family thing. We would have tea every evening at Tillotama's room. It became a common thing, you know. So like we had a bathak every evening. So it just became a very wholesome experience. It wasn't you going and doing something like.
These were people who were welcoming you.
And everyone was contributing to the larger picture. It became like that. Like, no one was like, oh, he has more scenes than me, this person has more scenes than me. I remember people telling me after the show came out, like, but you didn't have dialogues, but you didn't have much scenes. But I'm like, no, I contributed to the entire story, you know? And
even when you were not there, you were being spoken about. We were all wondering.
Which is why you remember my name so much, because my name just got hammered into everyone's brains,
Tell us one thing each about Jaideep and Tillotama that probably we don't know. You've seen them up close working. How they get into the skin of the character, the process, anything that you can share with us.
I have heard Jaideep sing and he has a lovely voice. And Tillotama loves doing embroidery.
And Jaideep was singing there, like when...
Just, behind the scenes one day he decided to sing and he had a really good voice. And I was like, wait, why have you not sung in movies before? Like, how like, you have to sing in films now, is what I remember saying to him. Yeah, but like, really good voice.
Lovely.
Yeah.
And Tillotama?
And Tillotama does embroidery, and if you watch Paatal Lok, as the scene is progressing, her embroideries, so that was her actually embroidering. That wasn't...
Oh, that's actually who Tillotama is? She does it? Okay.
Even on the first day, she loves, on our table read, she was happily embroidering. Yeah. And she makes very good pasta.
Okay.
Yeah, very healthy, very very gluten-free, very healthy pasta. She makes very tasty pasta. Yeah.
How cool. So, हम थोड़ा reverse gear में जाएंगे.
Okay.
This girl from Kohima, born and brought up there?
I was actually born in Assam.
Okay.
And then,
And your schooling?
Schooling Kohima, college Delhi.
Arey, we have the Delhi connection.
Yes.
Which college?
Hansraj.
She's unmarried.
Oh,
South Campus,
South.
North Campus,
Okay,
but
yes.
koi baat nahi.
Haan.
Okay, so this girl from Kohima thought she's going to be an actor? Is that what
I didn't
drove
actually
you?
think I wanted to be an actor. I was too shy to admit it. Because, you know, from a small town and back in those days, I mean, now to people are, I mean, I grew up without the internet, you know, so now people have the choice to dream and say, oh, I want to be, you know, making videos on social media and all of that. But back then we didn't have that. It was either doctor, engineer, or government servant.
Yeah.
Like those were the three options.
And you were clear you didn't want to go there?
And I mean, I made myself believe that, oh yeah, that's what I'm supposed to do. And this is just a dream. This is time pass dream. After a while, when I grow up, I will outgrow this dream and I will forget about it.
Yeah.
But the reverse happened. As I was growing up, the dream became even stronger. And then I thought, you know, if I don't try, I'll like better try than not try at all and regret for the rest of your life.
So you were part of DramSoc, you were very active.
I wasn't even part of the dramatic society, no. Like I was still trying to suppress it, you know.
Oh,
like,
really?
Yes.
You weren't
No,
involved in...
I was not involved, and I used to look at like the people involved and I'm like, oh, I wish, but no, I'm supposed to.
And what were you studying?
I was studying science. Okay, like science student, and science student, you don't
BSc.
you don't get time because you're just dissecting animals the entire
can't
time.
believe
You know,
this.
just like cutting up frogs, cutting up rats. Once the rat escaped from the lab, so and then I just remember we reached the lab and there was one rat we all had to share, and the rat ran away. Hey, pakad, 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 pakad. I just heard the lab assistant running, pakad, pakad. Then rat ran away, and we're all just sitting waiting for the next rat to get caught so we could do our dissections. Yeah.
So, you know, I remember when I was studying in JMC, and a lot of students from the Northeast come to Delhi University to study. And it's always amazing to meet them, but I can understand there's always this barrier, one because of the language, because of just how they're viewed, that they end up being a little within their group, you know.
Yes. It's a very common thing.
Was it the same for you, or did you make friends with people
No,
from...
I was making friends with all random people in my college. First of all, science background, there's not many people from Nagaland there. I was the only one in my class. And then, so my closest friends were either Garhwali or Bihari or Haryanvi, Jat, you know, like...
I love it.
Yeah.
So language was never a barrier?
No. I mean, we were just talking in English. Then I don't know, somehow I made friends with the international students also. So I had friends. I had a friend from Sri Lanka. Then I followed her to the international students ka those performance ka whatever, and then I got invited to the Vietnamese New Year. Some students invited me. Like I was just like, and then some Bhutanese
But that's the beauty of studying in Delhi University.
So
it's a melting pot of so many cultures, languages, people, kids.
I still remember the meal I had for Vietnamese New Year, and it was just the most perfect meal I ever had in my life. I almost went mad eating their food, and I was just like, wow, I need to keep making friends with these people.
And मुझे सुन के इतना अच्छा लग रहा है that you've had such nice experiences.
Yeah.
Were there anything that that you still carry from that time which probably wasn't as pleasant?
See, within
How were the
college,
auto walas with you?
Auto wala, oh gosh, you know, so my Hindi was so bad. So I remember once I wanted to go somewhere and I asked the rickshaw wala kitna hoga, and he said 12 rupees. I was like, 12 bahut zyada hai, 15 le lo. Okay. And he's just staring at me, and he's just like, and he just shook his head. Then my friend was with me, and he's like, actually, 15 is more than 12. I got confused between 12 and 20. So, yeah, so those kind of incidents
But you never felt like somebody othered you?
No,
or, you know,
within college, I loved college so much because I was treated, I got extra attention. Because the thing is, see, in the entire classroom, I'm the one who looks the most different, so I obviously stood out. And when the teacher was teaching and when I was lost, it was so obvious because first of all, I stick out like a sore thumb. Then when I'm lost, and like even 2 seconds, if my mind drifts away, the teacher would be like, "Are you understanding? Are you able to understand my accent?" You know, and I just feel so guilty that they're, you know, and I'd be like, just take, you know, like I would wish that someone
I don't want this attention.
I don't want this
fine.
attention. So that way it was funny. And the classmates used to tease me. They're like, wow, you two get so much extra attention and all of that.
And there are lots of positive stereotypes with kids from the Northeast.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be great with music. You look good in everything, which is another thing. No matter what the girls from Northeast wear, they always look nice. That's what we say.
Sarojini Nagar. Okay? It's all Sarojini Nagar. That's our shopping mall. Yeah.
Very cool. But when you came to Bombay,
Yeah.
did that scenario change? Did you feel
So-
like it's an impossible dream because Bollywood
Uh-huh.
will just not know what to do with me?
So I always thought that, oh, if you like, actor is actor, you know, like I didn't know that there are all these boxes. So when I moved to Bombay, I was like, yeah, need female actress, I will go audition. Need female
Yeah.
actress, I will go audition. And then I started realizing that, wait.
You realized it, somebody told you, or the casting directors told you?
No,
that,
no one. I don't know how. I think over time it was slow. It was a mixture of everything. Of how casting alerts are given out and how they, like for example, they have this term upmarket looking, which is someone who is fair and rich. So
Okay.
upmarket is like, yeah.
The way we typecast.
Yeah,
Anybody
yeah.
dark complexion has to
Is-
be
yeah,
poor, not,
yeah,
not
yeah.
doing really well.
Like that. So I started realizing that, okay, there are different like I have friends, I ask them, you know, and they're like, yeah, I am supposed to be a best friend, you know. And then another one was like, oh, I'm supposed to be fat funny friend.
Yeah,
Because
these are the typical,
these are the
hero's
typical-
friend,
Yes,
girl's girlfriend.
Yeah.
So you were?
So I'm just Northeastern person. So I will be called to audition for any age from 18 to 55. Does not matter. I am Northeastern person. Okay. So yeah. So
Give us a few instances of your initial days of auditioning here for Northeastern person character. Like, you would end up with other girls from the Northeast. You were all competing for the same.
yeah, sometimes I don't know, someone by mistake put me in the foreigners group also, and I remember going to the audition, and then there were all these gorgeous Eastern European models who were 6 feet tall, and I was just, you know, barely reaching up to their ears, and just looking at their long legs, and I was like, no, wait, something has gone wrong. I'm not supposed to be in this room, you know. And then even the casting director was like, who called you? And I was like, someone from your team called you. I didn't just desperately show up like this. Then she was like, yeah, you're not a fit. And then I had to leave.
So when did you start doing these skits? Because you're also someone who's so funny, and I love the videos that you put up on Instagram because they're so observational. It's also how you have seen people around you, observe those little nicks here. That's you. That's who Merenla has always been, mimicking people and seeing what's funny around.
I mean, yeah, that's who I've always been. In school, I was the one who used to mimic all the teachers and make everyone laugh. I remember someone told me this, and you know, we're always told that women are supposed to be elegant, you're not supposed to be funny.
Demure,
Demure and all of that stuff. When I was in like 11th or 12th standard, that's when, you know, you're into your teenage years, you're getting crushes on boys and all of that. You're supposed to be super demure during that time. And someone told me that, oh, my friend said that you sit in the last bench, but that was my designated spot, like last bench. Not that I was a backbencher, but you sit in the last bench and you always cracking jokes and making everyone laugh, you know. And I don't know why I felt so like cracking jokes and making people laugh. I felt like a crass man, like, you know, like ha 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 ha, and I was like, oh no, I have to be way more elegant. Like I can't be known for the girl who cracks jokes and is the joker of the class. I remember having that thought, but then now I'm like, no wait, that's me. You know, that's my personality. I can't help it. Yeah. Like even when I'm sad, the joke comes
find
out.
a way to.
It's like I remember like one time, like I was going through a heartbreak. My friends had come over. They were all, you know, whatever, and I'm crying. And then Beach Me one joke came out because I couldn't control, because I found the opportunity to say the joke, and then I was like, wow, and I'm wiping my tears and saying, wow, see, I'm still saying jokes. You know? So that was like a funny moment.
How many years in Mumbai?
10, 11. Yeah, 11 years.
Do you like the city?
I do. I love the city. I was very shocked when I first came because in Delhi there's always a curfew. And then I went out with friends and it was 12 o'clock.
Biggest change.
Yeah, 12 o'clock at night and 3 girls. Okay.
This is the Superwomaniya rapid fire.
Okay.
Set of questions for you. One red flag in men you now spot within first 5 minutes.
When they're rude to waiters.
That's good.
Uh,
If you could go back in time, which thing would you do differently? Anything that you now, hindsight, feel like I could have done it differently?
I mean, there's always the regret, but then if I change even a slight thing in my past life, I probably won't be here today, So that's a very risky thing, because if I change one thing, I don't know where I would be.
You would be.
Yeah. Would I be happy with the life that eventually happened? I don't know. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So nothing.
Best not to live with regrets.
Oh, nice.
Even though I have lots.
Let me in on some at least.
As in, like, regrets as in, I shouldn't have said this to that person,
Oh, okay, like that.
those
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
things.
yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Have you ever had to dumb yourself down, dim your own light to make someone else comfortable? And that's something a lot of women have to do, because men apparently are scared of women who can voice their opinion and are smart and independent. Has that happened?
I think in a few instances, yes, but it's mostly to stop them from talking. Be like, just agree with someone just to stop them from talking, because I don't want to hear them talking about, yeah, you are correct, perfect, your answer is perfect, and then just move on,
Okay, lovely. Which female fictional character is basically your spirit animal?
That's a tough one. I related a lot with Fleabag, but then I'm not.
Do you also break the fourth wall? Like, do you keep zoning out?
Yeah,
Is
all
that
the time, yes.
That I can see that. Okay. What is the one quote you swore by every single day that kept you going when things weren't great?
It's not a quote, but I've always, when I'm in deep trouble or when I'm feeling really low, I always tell myself, my grandmother survived the Second World War. Okay,
wow.
She did not survive the Second World War for me
too.
to be like this, So I keep reminding to myself, Grandma survived the Second World War. She survived the Japanese invasion.
I love this. Okay. One toxic hustle culture myth you have unlearned.
Well, I didn't really learn that, but then I saw it in people, and I think I know it helps people move forward, but I don't like the way people in Bombay are always pretending to be busy and like talking. I know it gets them
the
work.
projection.
The projection of being busy, the projection of like, I'm doing so much. Like sometimes when you meet people in Bombay,
through that, and that's really,
it's like people are just reading out their resume to you. Like I'm this, and I get, who are you as a human being, not like what you are doing in life right now, But I guess that's what brings in the work. But it's just, I find it very off-putting.
Yeah. Okay, the last thing you did that felt so not adult, but healed something in you, your inner child. Your smile tells me you've done many such things.
Oh gosh, this is so embarrassing. It was so juvenile, my last breakup. I found a passport photograph of my ex-boyfriend in my wallet, and then I was so angry I burnt. and
you did a full Jabri net?
But then passport photographs take really long to burn. So it's like burn, and you go like, oh gosh, and then oh my goodness, and then it was just like, and I was just like, okay, I'm getting very tired, but now I've gone halfway through.
So I better.
And I was like, and I had started burning from the bottom half, and now the faces, I was like, okay, I should have burned the other way around, because if I had at least burned the face part and just the shoulders were left, I could throw it away. I was like, I had to turn it around and burn. But it was cathartic, it was very juvenile. I was like, what am I doing? Am I 16? But I don't know, it just felt good.
I can visualize
like burning
it
away the memories and everything.
Lovely. Okay. Would you rather disappoint someone else or betray yourself a little?
Oh, I think it's better to disappoint someone else. That I am a chronic people pleaser, but I'm starting to learn that. You have to put yourself. You cannot betray who you are as a person. Yes.
If your younger self saw you now, the one thing that she'd be most proud of.
She's like, what? You live alone? You pay rent? No one helps you pay rent? Yeah. 100% she would have said that.
So cool.
Me from 10 years ago who just moved to Bombay would have 100% said that. Yeah.
Merenla, we always say that, and there's this whole debate of insider, outsider, and we say it's really tough for someone who doesn't belong in Bombay to make it, particularly in this industry where you need contacts and networking and people need to know you. Is it more difficult for someone from the Northeast? Are there challenges that you have faced which were unique to you because of where you've come from
Um,
or how you look?
I don't know. I think everyone has some sort of a challenge or the other. And I mean, yes, I am looked at differently because of where I am from. But I'm sure a darker skinned person is also looked at differently because of the color of her skin. Like, it's just like we're all these people who do not
So
fit
unless
into
you're,
the
what you're trying to say is if you're not part of the template,
yeah,
then
the template,
everybody
yeah,
is
everybody,
looked at
yeah,
differently.
you know, we're not part of that mold, the mold that is the acceptable mold of beauty. We are not a part of all of that. Like, we're just seen as, you know, all these frivolous things around it, you know. And I think now people try to be extra cautious around us
Politically
because they want
correct
to be
and more
politically
woke, yeah,
correct.
yeah. Also, they don't know who's recording.
Exactly. But with all the political correctness, then it becomes like, even while storytelling, you know, like it's like how like in Hollywood, when a lot of black actors started coming in the mainstream, their story just revolved around around their blackness, about their race. You know, like you have so many films where it's about
It's still about their identity. I mean, they're justifying why they're in that
but then
role,
it's
yeah.
not. But slowly now it's just
Yeah.
it's changing. I mean, if you look at shows in the UK, there's always a random Indian person, and
Yeah.
they don't show that this person is from India or something.
Yeah,
They'll just be
yeah.
like a random. There'll be
Yeah.
an Indian person in the
Yeah.
show, because London
There
has
are,
a huge
yeah,
population of Indian
Indians,
people,
yeah.
and they don't justify nothing, and they're just like, no, this role is this role because this person is acting in this role, you know. And I like that. I like watching British shows because there's a lot of diversity. If
Correct,
you notice,
correct. Feel unfair because, you know, you're an actor, you performed really well.
Thank you.
Why would you not get the roles that should come your way? Do you think somebody else who, again, you know, this is different from you, is part of the typical template of Bollywood, would have probably benefited more than you?
Currently, there's barely any work, is what I've heard from a lot of
Yeah,
friends.
things have slowed
so
down for
things have
everyone,
slowed
yeah.
down. So I'm also wondering if that is also a thing. But yes, if I had been more typical looking, I think I would have gotten more audition calls, because all the audition calls I got after Paatal Lok were, again, Northeastern character, you know. I
And
was
so
like-
you've said no.
And if they were not, I mean, I've
In
had
your
to say
position,
no.
is it easy to say no, or do you feel like, at least let me do the kind of stuff that's at least coming my way? How do you approach it?
No, sometimes I just say no. If I'm not feeling it, and I know the other person must be thinking, who is she to just say no to roles? But then, at least, you know, with social media, Instagram brands and all of that, my rent is getting paid. So I don't have to worry about the money, at least for now,
Yeah.
you know. And I just, yeah, I mean, like, if I get called, like, I've been called, and then they're like, it's a one-day role, do you want to come? And you say one dialogue and you're done. And I'd be like, no, I'm not feeling it, and
I'm no longer in that.
yeah, like, I don't even tell them. I just say, it's not for me. I don't know, I guess sometimes it is important to just say no. But I have the cushioning of having money coming in to pay rents. That's why I can afford to say
and
no
that's
right
so
now.
important.
Yeah. But yeah, maybe if I were more typical looking, I would have had more auditions coming my way. But it's, you know, I can't sit and keep complaining that, oh, this is the way things are. But I've sort of accepted that this is the way things are. It's about how I learn to maneuver my way around it and try to figure out how to circumvent this. Because if I were to just sit and complain that this is what's happening, then I'm not going to move forward. But it's all about, like, this is just a rock that has come on my way on my hiking trail, and I have to either move around it or I have to climb over it, but I just have to make sure I get to the other side. So it's just, I have more hurdles than other people, is the way I see it.
Merenla, do you sometimes feel like you have, in a way, opened a few doors for other girls like you from the Northeast? Do they reach out to you and say, we derive our strength from you?
I don't know, I hope so. I mean, maybe one or two people out there can see my videos and be like, hey, it's okay to be silly, and then make themselves silly on screen. But I hope there are people like that, you know. I mean, I know I look at other people and I get the confidence to
Who
go
are
out
your
there.
inspirations? Who inspire you?
They're just any woman who is just doing something different, who is just being brave and trying to do something entirely different, that inspires me. You know, like I have, and there's so many of them out there right now. I remember one of my first inspirations was Malika Dua when she started making her makeup DD videos. I used to find them hilarious. And this friend of mine was telling me, you know, you were obsessed with her. You would keep showing me her videos and tell me how funny she is. And look at you, you're like you're in the same path, you know, or like even someone like Dolly Singh, who has now started making her tiny web shows.
Yeah.
Not web shows, the 1 minute
story
on Instagram. Like, I see all these women who are just, you know, breaking, like, and I think Dolly, that's the first of its kind that she's done. Like, the editing is brilliant. So, and I see women doing this, I'm like, okay, yeah, it's possible. It's, you know, it's, yeah.
So I'm going to give you a few situations and I want you to either complete the sentence for me or give me an expression in a way to answer, as an answer for these situations, okay? So the spotlight is on you, you have the mic, the camera is on you. Tell us. Every time I walk into a comedy lineup full of men, I
make sure that I'm smiling and nodding at the jokes because I don't want to be seen as the woman who refuses to laugh at male jokes.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
it has happened to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the one thing people assume about female comedians makes you roll your eyes.
I mean, just the general fact that female comedians are not funny.
Funny.
you
Isme
know.
हंसता था क्या?
Yeah.
Do you
that
get those
one thing.
comments?
Yeah, I think, we get those comments also.
Yeah.
But, you know, the way women perceive comedy, the way men perceive comedy is also different.
Yeah.
You know, there are some things that are way funnier to women than to men. And just because in a lot of fields, it's been the men who have come and dominated and have set the benchmark, doesn't mean, like, if a man is not finding it funny, it's not necessary that a woman is not going to find it funny. Because, which is what, like, you know, like, period jokes are funny to be bad jokes, you know, like your rashes you get from your pants, those are funny. Men may not find it relatable, may not find it funny, but it's still funny.
It's authentic to our existence. Yeah. Okay. Your reaction when you get paid less than a male co-star for doing more work?
What to say only?
When someone says, you're funny for a girl, you say?
So? I mean, why even entertain? You know?
One thing I've learned as a woman on the internet is?
So, one thing I've learned as a woman is that you can face a lot of criticism. Yeah. And which is why I like to tailor my comedy towards women and gay men, because that is a very sweet, safe space.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Oh, you do that consciously?
Yes, it's a conscious thing. Because
The girls and the gays.
yes, because so after Paatal Lok, I got a huge amount of male followers, you know, and I noticed the shift because before, like, even you see the percentage divide, how much percentage women, how much percentage men you have, and if I put up photographs, you know, it's just from the comments, you know, but then after the shift that happened where lots of male followers came and I put up a picture, I'm not smiling, and it was just full of men telling me to smile.
Please put up more pics with the
with
scowl.
a scowl, like, you know.
Okay,
Yeah.
if toxic masculinity had a face, you tell it to?
Oh gosh, I would tell it to stop being so emotional.
When someone calls me bold for simply having an opinion, I feel like?
I feel like I am doing the right thing.
When a man interrupts me mid-sentence, I mentally?
Mentally tell myself that I will interrupt him more number of times. Yeah.
Does that happen?
Yeah. But I will also interrupt back because I'm petty.
Yeah.
So
You burned your ex's picture? Yes. Okay. When I wear what I want and still get judged, I wonder.
I think everyone loves to put up this front that I don't care, but then it does affect you a little bit. It makes you think like, But then you also have to be like, you have to tell yourself like, no, if I feel comfortable, then they don't have any right. And also they have horrible taste for judging me.
If I had a mic for every time I was told, this role isn't for someone like you, I would.
Use that mic to beat those people. No, wait, that's too violent.
But that's okay. Okay, that's what you instinctively want to do, but then you don't.
Yes.
Yeah, we get that. You spoke about how there is gender discrimination everywhere, irrespective, even from where you
Yeah,
come.
yeah.
Even, what is it? Because that's news. I always thought that women are more powerful in Northeast, and it's a matriarchal society.
So it is not matriarchal. Like we have
Not all tribes, only
no,
one.
no,
Yeah.
no. Like at least in Nagaland, it is not matriarchal at all. And yeah, of course, women have a lot of freedom. We do have a lot of freedom, but then you also have that whole thing of like, oh, a woman is supposed to do this. There's restrictions.
So
for
the
women.
gender roles
The gender
everywhere
roles
are
are
the
very,
same.
you
Yeah.
know, they're defined and like. What I don't like is that when we try to speak about it, you know, I'm not saying that men back home are evil, but I'm just like, you please see that, you know, there is a lack of equality. But then a lot of times what I get told is, yeah, but you know, we're not doing we're not raping women, we're not doing this. They start giving examples that are in the north.
Again, the
yeah,
basic
yeah.
of, yeah.
Honor killing happens in the north, and then I'm like, do I thank him for not
Yeah,
chopping my head
yeah,
off? You know what is?
yeah.
So it's very difficult to speak to someone when their ego is so high up that
Yeah,
it clouds their
yeah,
judgment. Like it's not horrible, but it can be better. Is what I'm saying, you know. But then I don't know. It's just a lot of people are not willing to listen to you when you say it. There are people who understand, but there are still a lot of people who don't. And refuse.
Merenla, I love the spunk that you have, and you know the fact that you observe all this and you want to give back, and I am all for that pettiness. Who do you think played the biggest role in shaping up the woman that you are today, the way you think, the way you understand these things?
Actually, all the women in my life. So my grandmother who
Who
survived,
survived World War II?
World War II. My grandmother was she was super impulsive, very independent. She lived for 20 years after her husband's death, and she was the head of the family. So she did whatever she wanted to do. No one was controlling whatever she wanted to do. She was just carefree. And then my mother, who started working at a very young age, and I would always, as a kid, I always admired my mother. You know, like she was doing a lot. She was a news reporter for the local TV news channel
Wow.
also. And I grew up with so much admiration for my mom. She did that in the evenings, and in the daytime she had an office job. So I remember like when my mom used to go for her TV job, she would dress up, and I would admire the way she looked as she walked out of the house. Like my dad and I would drop her to the station, and we would look at her from the screen when she's reading out the news. So that like my aunts, they've all been working women. My mom's sister is a writer, and she's also shaped me a lot. Like she, in her 40s, she moved to Norway. She moved to a whole new country,
On her
learned a
own,
whole
yeah.
language, and she just and then now she writes there. And so I see them, and it just, they have shaped me a lot. Even my uncle's wife, who came from a family of 9 or 11 children, and some of her siblings did not get education, but she got educated, became the first female mechanical engineer from the state. And I see that, and just the grit and determination that these women have, and I know that has shaped me a lot.
This has been an absolute pleasure, Merenla. Thank you so much for taking out the time. I'm so glad,
I'm so glad
we
I
could
made
do
it.
this.
Yeah.
And hoping more success to you and more studio visits.
Yes, after the release of my next project.
Yes, yes, totally.
Yeah.
But thank you.
Thank you for having me. I had a lot of fun.